this is Britt Caswell with another example video. In today's video, I'm covering example 3 from lesson 5-5 in the SavvasRealize Algebra 2 textbook. The goal of today's video is dividing functions, which, remember, functions and polynomials, they're relatively the same thing. Okay, so the knowledge that we have from dividing polynomials is going to be the same thing as dividing functions. The only difference is that we have an f of x and a g of x. Now, Savvas does a little bit of a non-traditional kind of notation. When I was growing up, or back in my day, the notation looked like this, where we describe the two functions that we are dividing here in the first part, but then we say what variable we're considering it in. So I'm still considering it in terms of x here. So where Savvas just says f divided by g, understand that this is the proper function notation. And it's more likely to be what you'd see on a test. So all that this is saying is that I need to create a fraction in which f of x is on the top, so x minus 7 upstairs, and g of x is down here at the bottom. Now, as with polynomials, a lot of times we want to factor and see if we can pull out specific terms or expressions. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to come to the side with the square expression, and I'm going to factor it. Oops, I forgot a 7 in there. Shame on me. So with this, because I have an a term here, I'm going to have to factor by grouping, which means that I am splitting that negative 13x into two separate terms. And the way that I figure out those terms is I multiply a times c. So 2 times 7 is 14. So I need to find the terms that multiply to make 14, that subtract, because of that minus there, to make 13. So that would be 14x and 1x. And I made sure that the 14 was negative, so that when I add those together, I get back to the negative 13. So then remember, you just make sure that you put two sets of parentheses with a plus between them, and you factor the GCF out of each set of parentheses. So the GCF here, between 2x squared and negative 14x, is 2x. And so when I do that, I'm left with x minus 7 in this parenthesis. And so that's the value I want to match, right? Now, because this parenthesis already says x minus 7, I'm just factoring out a 1, okay, because that won't change the value in this set of parentheses. So then I would just say the stuff that I factored out times the matching factors, and that is the factored form that I'm going to put over here as my new denominator. So I have x minus 7 over 2x plus 1 times x minus 7. And you notice now I have a number in the numerator and a number in the denominator that cancel out, and I'm left with 1 over 2x plus 1. Now I haven't stated any restrictions on here, right? Normally we would look at what would make the denominator equal to 0. I don't think Savvas will ask you for restrictions, but if it does, remember, before you cancel anything out, just say what would make each of these parentheses equal to 0. So negative 1/2 and 7. Let's try again. So here in the middle, if I'm doing f divided by g of x, f of x is x squared minus 3x minus 18, and g of x is x plus 3. If I have something that's not a linear term, I'm going to go ahead and factor it. And this is easy because there's no a value, it's just a 1. So I could just use my double bubble. So this will factor into x minus 6 times x plus 3. And lo and behold, there's an x plus 3 on both of these. So when I actually do that division, I'm left with x minus 6 as my final solution. All right, one last bout of it, doing f divided by g of x. So I get x minus 3 for f of x, and x squared minus x minus 6 for g of x. I factor my denominator, so I get x minus 3 and x plus 2. Cancel out any terms that are lying in the top and the bottom. And wham bam, thank you ma'am. We have divided those functions. Until next time.